Hello, welcome to The Winding Yarn. My name is Ciara. I am a painter, knitter, mother of a 3-year-old, living in Northern California. And this is a new podcast that I'm starting because I need an outlet. Yeah, it's a place for me to share what I've been working on, what I've been thinking about, what's keeping me going these days in the margins of a full life of raising a toddler. I'm currently a stay-at-home mom, and we are in a stage where it's I need an outlet. So here we are. Thank you so much for hitting play on this video. I hope you stick around and hope you like what I have to share. And yeah, I'm gonna be staring at my window a lot. It's February. It's the day before Valentine's Day, and where we live, we always get a false spring, which means there's gonna be another cold snap. But it sure as heck feels like spring right now. Like, I was out and I took off my weekender sweater when I was at the playground with my son earlier this morning, who, by the way, is trending towards skipping nap time completely. So he's currently in his room for quiet time. Yesterday he was out every 5 to 10 minutes. Sometimes he stays in there the whole time, so we'll just kind of see what happens. But yeah, the leaves are still bare on many of the trees, but the trees that flower are in full bloom right now. So our camellia bush, which is now a tree, I can see the beautiful blossoms from here. It hasn't bloomed in like 3 years, so that's really exciting. I fertilized the crap out of it over the summer. So anyway, let's talk about the stuff. So yeah, I have some fun things to share. I have what I'm wearing. This is the Weekender by Andrea Mowry. It's a sweater that I reach for all the time. It's just very comfortable, and I think it's definitely Knit Picks tweed. I knitted a few years ago, so I don't have it's in my Ravelry. It's a tweedy Knit Picks, probably Wool of the Andes. Worsted, yeah, and I love it. And I would love to make another one. I think I want one in gray. Yeah, so basically what I have planned, who knows how long it'll take. I can ramble. So I'm gonna try and keep it within an hour though, because that's how much time I can reasonably hope for from my child. And this might be filmed in parts. My husband also works from home, so you might hear, and we also have 2 cats in the house. There's just, there's activity around. So that just is what it is. And my heater will pop on and off. But yeah, perfection does not exist. So now the cats are fighting. We're just gonna roll with it. So what I have planned, yeah. I will share some finished objects. I will share some works in progress. I will share some planning. I will kind of mix in things I've been thinking about kind of throughout. And then hopefully we'll get to what I've been reading and various things like that. So yeah, we'll start with finished objects. So I've been less productive. I think one year I knit 40, this was 2020. A lot of time to knit. I knit like 44 projects. Last year I think I knit 11? Is that right? No, I think I did more than that. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I'm at the point in I started knitting in 2018, summer of 2018. So I had like a full year and a half of knitting before 2020 COVID shutdowns happened. And I'm now, what is that, 7 or 8 years into knitting, and I'm much choosier about what I knit, and the materials I use and things like that. I've narrowed down, first of all, what I like and don't like after that time, and also what yeah, I think that's I know what I like. I know what I like now, and that makes a big difference as far as project planning. So, but this is, I cast off on Christmas Eve, another Andrea Mowry pattern. It's the Range shawl. And this has been on my list to knit since I joined Ravelry in 2018. I love this pattern. I love the colors. I did my best to match the colors with what was available on Knit Picks because I'm a very budget conscious knitter. And it's alpaca, which makes it extremely warm and extremely soft and like beautifully drapey. It's less of like the schlanket that I loved about the images. It's definitely more of a shawl. It feels more like a shawl than a schlanket. Shawl blanket, which is really what I wanted, was that like super thick luxe, like I love those project pictures in or the pattern pictures that Andrea Mowry did, but it's more practical, especially for California winters, where a schlanket is really only necessary maybe for 2 weeks out of the whole year. And it is still extremely warm and soft and cozy. So very happy with this. It's a long time wish knit, and the alpaca that Knit Picks had at the time I think matched the original pattern pretty well. There's a couple points where I forgot to increase in this section. I was just going, and you see there's like a little hitch there, that bump, but who cares? It's in a shawl. It doesn't really matter. Shawls are extremely forgiving. So there's one finished object, and then my most recent FO is the Alpine Bloom hat by it's so huge, by Caitlin Hunter. I knit one of these for my brother-in-law's girlfriend as a thank you for taking some family photos for us. And I knit it in the medium size, and I tried it on, and I felt like it was a little too snug. But the large, I think, just incorporates a whole nother panel, and it's way too big now. I have a 22-inch head, which I think is large for a lot of hats. So you see, once I put it on, it's like not that ridiculous. And it has a nice slouch. It's not as close to as like a skull cap beanie as much as it is a slouchy beanie at this size, but it actually does fit me really well, and it's really cozy. And I could go even slouchier if I wanted, if I unroll the brim. But then it's like, there's a lot of weight there and it'll probably fall off my head. So I just keep it rolled. And I loved knitting this pattern the first time. I loved knitting it in the large size the second time. And I adore these colors. This is also Knit Picks. And it was made out of leftovers from a project I finished last year for my son, whose name is Hazel, by the way. This is the Baby Dragonfly by, Anna Wintersoul, I want to say. I could be wrong. But this has also been a pattern that's been on my list forever. since we had a baby 3 years ago. My aunt gifted me the pattern for Christmas one year, and I copied the pattern picture colors as much as possible with Knit Picks. This is Knit Picks palette. And I had tons left over because I tend to use way less yarn than the patterns call for. I don't know why that is. So I made myself a color matching hat, and people have commented, oh, you guys match. And I'm like, it's the same yarn, and I made them both. So color work is my jam. I love me some color work. So this has returned to my whips pile though, because inexplicably I discovered a hole in the arm, a gigantic hole. It seems like it got snipped. It's really bizarre though. I cannot understand or figure out how or why this would have happened. It's like right on the seam, so not the work of moths, and honestly seems way too precise for my son to have chopped it, but you never know. He sometimes gets away with literally running with scissors in the house. He's got a little pair of blue scissors that he loves to cut up paper with. I've caught him like pretending to cut other things, but when I asked him about it, he seemed pretty sincere that he did not cut this, but I have no clue what happened, but I'm just gonna like whip stitch it up. This will be the last season that he gets to wear it because it's already kind of short on him. He's got a really long torso. But you know, I still have more yarn. I could always, it was bottom up, that's part of the problem. I could always unpick. It's so annoying to unpick the cast on edge of ribbing. But I could potentially just pick up the ribbing and keep ribbing. I don't know. Maybe by this time next year he'll have enough new sweaters that I won't be missing it. But it is so precious, and it's such a beautiful pattern. So that kind of moves us into, oh, I have a couple other finished objects. So I got into weaving this year, like little wall hangings. A friend of mine just gave me a bucket, like a huge Tupperware bin, not Tupperware, like huge plastic bin of roving and yarn and a loom and a bunch of stuff that she's like, I'm not going to use it. So I was like, thank you. So I'm not like a professional in any stretch. I'm just using sticks from my yard as the dowels. And I need to steam these because they're pretty wiggly. Oops. Anyway. Anyway, so yeah, so this is one, I think it goes this way, yeah, there's one. I'm just kind of, you know, making it up as I go and trying to figure out, did I show you the right side on this? I think so, the correct side, I mean. The back isn't terrible looking either, there's just more loose ends. Yeah, so this has been really fun. I can get these done in like a couple hours, so they're really gratifying, and it's a great way to like use up, this was one I did this morning, great way to use up yarn and roving. I tried to be a spinner. I'm really not a spinner. I did give away all my roving, and now there's more of it in my life for weaving. So yeah, so I've made 3 so far this year, and they're just kind of hanging around my house. I'm not really sure what I'll do with them, but yeah, so those are my finished objects to share this episode uno, which will just move us right along into works in progress. Oh, and here comes one of the cats. This is Nobody. You want to say hi? Oh, I should share this. This is a forever work in progress. It's Nibbles, you want to say hi? This is Nobody. She just wants to sit in my lap. She does not want to be on the camera. So this is an Afghan. It's just a granny stripe blanket. It's so long. It's crochet. I don't do much crochet, but this was a way to use up my sock yarn scraps, which I don't really have. Last year my big goal was to use up my stash, which I did for the most part. I've got I try to just buy yarn for the projects I'm gonna do next. I've ended up with a few extra skeins here and there from giveaways and gifts and things like that, but I don't honestly know when or if this is ever gonna get done because I don't buy this kind of sock yarn that regularly anymore. Although I do have some sock project plans and I tend to only use like 50 grams at a time, so yeah, so we'll see. But anyway, this is my big ass granny stripe Afghan, which is just a forever project. It's currently draped over, well, right now it's draped over this, but it lives on our rocking chair, which is currently in our room. But yeah, that's really fun, and it's a fun, like, I remember all of these yarns, not all the projects, but yeah. So yeah, that's another fun thing. Yeah. Okay, so that takes us into our whips. First, teapots. I've been on a mint kick, just a plain old stash peppermint. I really can't drink coffee after like 12 p.m. because it gives me heartburn. So tea it is. Mothman. This is my Mothman mug. I love cryptids. We went and saw the Mothman statue at Point Pleasant on our way back from moving back from Virginia back to here, California, hometown. But yeah, we stopped in Point Pleasant on the way. I think that was on the way back. Wait, do we have the cats with us? We got the cats in Virginia. This is William Blake. He's usually the one who's all up in my business. Now he's checking out my tea. Are you gonna chill? Hang out with us? Let me know what you are drinking. If you have any pets. What you're working on in the comments. I would love to know as I discuss what I'm working on. So this is my William Blake. You've got to settle down. Come on. He will pace for a good 5 minutes before he figures out where he wants to sit. Are you happy there? Is that a good spot? Oh, big purrs. Oh, big purrs. Yes. This cat is a cat in a dog's body. Okay, so what I'm working on. I have been working on it's a self-drafted pattern based heavily on the Easy Eyelet mod, or the Easy Eyelet. I'm calling it the Easy Eyelet mod because I modified it. Self-drafted it. The Easy Eyelet sweater scarf by We Are Knitters, which We Are Knitters has a, you have to buy their yarn in order to buy their patterns. I'm like, y'all would sell a lot more patterns because I'm not paying for your yarn. Sorry, I bought knit picks. This is for my cousin. She wanted this pattern and I said, neither of us can afford the quantity of yarn to make this thing. But basically, so it's a sweater scarf, which means it's got sleeves on either end, and then it's a scarf that you like wrap around yourself. And this one has eyelets. And there, if I hold it up there, you can see against the white brick. And once it's blocked, it'll be like a foot long, foot wide. And it's been boring to knit, like most scarves. I can't decide if I love the eyelets or hate them. Because like on the one hand, it keeps me counting things and it keeps me looking forward to the next, like I'll often knit until I get to the next eyelet row. On the other hand, I've had to tink back so many times because I forgot to put in the eyelets, and I might get more done if I didn't have to pay as close attention. So we've been watching, I like to knit while we watch TV after Hazel goes to bed. That's usually my knitting time. But we've been watching on Netflix Culinary Class Wars, which is a Korean cooking show, and it's subtitled, and it's like if they made a Squid Games cooking show. It's so intense. It's nobody dies, but it's just cooking. But it's definitely a reality TV show. It is. I'm hooked though, and it really makes me want to go to Korea. My husband has been to Korea. I have not. We took a trip to Japan around this time last year, and the food, oh my gosh, so good, so much fun. And yeah, watching this show just makes me want to do a culinary tour through all of Asia, but maybe someday in the future. Anyway, this thing's long. Here's my halfway point. I'm knitting another 10 inches or so, 10 or 15 inches, and then I'm gonna block what's there, and I'm gonna see my cousin next weekend and have her try it on. Yeah. I made a bunch of my own stitch markers with Shrinky Dinks a while back, so this one's a little coffee cup. That's my progress keeper versus stitch marker. I like these. I love my little pair guys for the removable stitch markers. But anyway, so yeah, this is, like I said, it's self-drafted, and it's in Knit Picks Larch Heather. I don't know what that one's doing there. This is another, this is a stitch marker I got from a set when I lived in Williamsburg, Virginia with my husband. This was a set of like materials found in the area. So this is leather. They're all really cute little guys. Anyway, I don't remember what that one's there for, but oh well. Yeah, so I'm gonna take it off the needles, put it on a cord. I've not used that like stretchy cord for trying on before, so this was my first attempt with that. I got like a big old roll of it. Purple, of course. That's one of my favorite colors. Yeah, just checking on my child in the monitor. See, the door is closed. He must be sneaking. Nope, he's playing with the dehumidifier. It's fine. Anyway, yeah, so this is what I've been working on. The promise of getting to work on my next project is what is keeping me going on it, and also knowing there's like kind of a deadline. My cousin requested this for her vow renewal. I'm almost done with a ball. That's exciting. In March, so I have no doubt I'll get it done in time. But when I am done, I get to start in earnest on my next work in progress, which I'm calling a work in progress because I did the swatch for it. I do not swatch, but these days I really want it to be something that I really want and fits really well, and I'm done just jumping headfirst into things, so I swatch. This is the swatch for the 1988 cardigan by Hannah Kim. So pretty, so pretty. I'm gonna go off the color pattern and do some more with that magenta. Like where there's the yellow, I'll throw in a magenta, probably like across the chest. But this is steeked, and as you can see, the yarn I've chosen, I did no reinforcement. It's not going anywhere. So I'm really pleased with my yarn choice. I had ordered a whole bunch, a sweaters quantity for this project in Knit Picks palette, and I started the swatch. I got to about here and was like, this is not working. I do not like this. I'm not going to enjoy knitting an entire all over color work cardigan in this. So I went over to Harrisville Designs and found the colors of my dreams. I've been into navy and gold for 3 or 4 years now. But I'll show you all the colors together. I think they are really gorgeous. First of all, I made myself all but 2 of the hanks are in this enormous cake, which I know is not good for yarn to live in a cake long term. I wound this in January though, and I'm hoping to have it done in a couple of months, so hopefully it won't have that much of an impact on my gauge. But anyway, enormous cake. And then this is 2 skeins in a cake. And then there's a skein of each of the other colors. Aren't those pretty together? And so you can see why, compared to the swatch, it's very, very gold and navy, obviously heavy. I want to throw more of that blue and purple in there, really intentionally. And I honestly think I'll have enough to do so, because they don't call for a whole lot. But yeah, so this is in Harrisville Designs, Shetland. The colors are oatmeal, magenta, mustard, peacock, and midnight blue. So I'm very excited about this. And then I have 2 extra skeins of this, which, like I said before, I tend not to, for some reason, use all the yarn the pattern calls for. So I figured I would leave some of them out of the cake for, you know, gauge tension, not stretching the yarn for so long for one reason, and then also in case I don't use them, they're not just living in a cake until I find something to do with them. But anyway, this is gonna be like my big project that I'm really, really excited about. My big ambitious project. And then, yeah, so we now, I think, can get into like some planning stuff. We're right here sitting on the cusp of 2026, mid-February. I think I've finally figured out to write 2026 as the date on everything now. And so I'm every time I go into a new year, I'm like, I'm not gonna worry about resolutions, I'm not gonna worry about goals. And part of that is like seasonally, January is a terrible time energetically to start things. You know, the at least in the northern hemisphere, it's the dead of winter. You are zapped after the holidays. You are moving slow naturally because that's what the earth is doing. It's not a time to like set goals and get going on things. But you know, or I always give it a couple weeks and then I get into something. So I've been seeing like make 9 things, the make 9 trend, make 9, I don't know. It's a thing. I'm sure you've seen it too. But 9 seemed like an arbitrary number, so I picked an equally arbitrary number and said I'm gonna do a make 6 goal for my makes this year. I made this little page in my bullet journal, make 6, and I have 4 different categories that I want to make 6 things in. So I have make 6 pairs of socks, make 6 knit or sewn garments, make 6 weavings. I'm 3 out of 6 on that already. And make 6 paintings on canvas. So for a long time, I have these little stickers that I'm gonna fill in these as I make them. So while I talk to you, I'm gonna fill in my weavings one. I am an artist. I was trying my gosh darndest to make it a viable career for myself for a decade or more. And it just did not ever really take off. I'm now living with it with the understanding, a much deeper understanding, that making art and selling it are 2 completely different skill sets, and not everyone has both of those. And I, of course, was trying to do everything by myself. I didn't want to invest more money, treat it, you know how like real businesses, traditional businesses, you invest a lot up front. You pay other people to do a lot of things. You pay them for your marketing, you pay them for this and that. A lot of investment goes in up front to make it successful, and then it pays for itself eventually and starts paying you eventually. I wanted to keep costs really low, so I didn't want to pay people for stuff. I did pay for like things like coaching, and then, I paid for my tools, but I was trying to do everything by myself. And partly because art is so personal, like it feels weird to just have it be a brand and operate all around that. Anyway, that's just one example of why it wasn't working for me. Is I think it was always too personal. And yeah, anyway, so when I quit my job to be a stay-at-home mom, I also quit my art business. I closed up shop with the government, so I didn't have to pay taxes anymore. I like canceled all my subscriptions to all my tools. I'm keeping my domain name because it's like $20 a year, but I'm gonna let my Squarespace subscription lapse and just move. If you want to see it until that day happens, it's ciarabarsotti.com. But yeah, I just pulled way back from all the stuff that I was involved in, and was making a lot less art. I kind of moved to paper and things that didn't take up a lot of space. Like my paintings are big. This is one of them. And they take up wall space, and they take up storage space, and they are a thorn in my side right now. There's too many of them just stashed around the house. But so yeah, so I've spent the last year like doing more art journaling and really investing my like time in other things. But I've been lately feeling the itch to paint again, paint acrylic. I use golden open acrylics, so they don't dry as quickly as traditional acrylics, but they're not, I never got into oils. That felt like a whole nother thing to get into, so it's like a happy medium where your paint will stay wet long enough for you to like work with it. So they're acrylic paintings though. Anyway, all that to say, I want to paint big, you know, like 16 by 20 at least size canvases. Again, I want to get back into that. So making time for it will be a whole other thing. But I want to do 6 paintings on canvas this year. So those are my Make 6, my 4 Make 6 categories. 6 pairs of socks, 6 knit or sewn garments, 6 weavings, and 6 paintings on canvas. A couple little notes. So first, the socks, I want to make sure I'm doing a heel flap and gusset on all of them. I find heel flaps and gussets to be tedious and annoying to knit, but they make a huge difference on my foot. Consistently, my afterthought heels, which is what I typically do. Where is my son? I have the monitor over here so I can like keep an eye on him while he's in his room, spy on him. Oh, he's just playing in the curtains. That's why those curtains are falling off the wall. What was I saying? Ugh. Fiber in my mouth. Oh, heel flap and gusset. When I'm wearing my afterthought heel socks in boots, my boots are a little too loose for one thing, but they will like slip down and it drives me crazy, and they just don't fit well on my feet. I also had a tendency to, when I was knitting like a short row heel, start the heel a little too soon just because I was impatient, and I really want to like slow down and make sure things actually fit, put in the few extra rows. It's like, what, 3 extra rows to get it to actually fit? Come on, Ciara. Patience. You're putting all this effort into it, might as well make it fit. So, challenging myself to do heel flap and gusset on all my socks, which I did the first few pairs and then haven't done for the last dozen socks I've made. But some possible sock patterns that I want to do. I would like to make the Hygge season socks. I made a pair of them before. The yarn I used fell apart pretty quickly, so I want to find a more hard-wearing yarn. I want to knit them a little smaller this time. I think that was part of it. They like rubbed funny. You know how when things are like too loose, I don't know, I feel like I like slid around in them a lot more, which I think added more wear than just walking normally would. So that's a thing. And then I have my cat in my lap, or I would lift up my foot to show you the socks that I'm currently wearing. They are the, I want to call them the Fleet Feet socks by Fatima Hines. I love them. I might knit another pair of those. Another pattern I might knit are the Paper Moon socks, the pole dance socks, which I have some, a bunch of self-striping. Got one right here. Felici. Knit Picks. Felici. I made my first Knit Picks Felici sock out of the Sanderson Sisters colorway for a Halloween sock. And I enjoyed it, so I'm glad I got a couple more with that batch. This one's called Board Shorts. But it does mean I need another sock yarn to go with it, with the pole dance pattern. But that looks like a fun challenge. Laid edges. I'd like to do another vanilla sock, because I do have some more self-striping, and vanilla socks are great for self-striping. And then the Drea Renee Knits DRK everyday socks, which that one has a Flegel heel, I believe, which I've been hearing a lot about and would like to try, so that's why I want to do that one. yeah, so those are some socks that I may knit this year. My sock collection, I started washing them in the washer dryer because I have a 3-year-old and I'm not gonna hand wash my socks. I need to be careful with that though, because I am moving away from superwash in general. And you need superwash to wash them in the washer and dryer, so we'll see. Anyway, since I started doing that, my socks have worn out a lot faster. And I've also been wearing these socks for some of them 6-7 years, so they naturally get holes. And I was darning my socks for a while, but I'd rather just knit more socks. I don't need 30 pairs of socks, especially in California. And then I have some knitting projects that I have in mind for my knit/sewn garments goal. This would be all 6. I think I'd like to knit myself. I would like to try to knit myself a pair of like wide leg trousers. Knit. So I would like to sew myself. I'm not crazy. I would like to sew myself a pair of wide leg trousers. I know there's a lot of great patterns online for that. We have an awesome craft swap store where you can bring donations and pick out 5 things for free to take home. And Hazel and I go there all the time, and I'm always like taking stuff and bringing it back if it doesn't quite work, and then also just bringing stuff to donate all the time too. It's awesome. So I might be able to find enough fabric to make myself some pants. And then I'm also wearing a dress that I sewed myself. I don't know if you can. It's like rainbows, cute little rainbows. It's a knit. Yeah, it's a knit fabric. Yeah, that's what the stretchy. It's like jersey knit, and it's the jersey knits are really comfortable, but they're also really heavy. So, but this is a dress pattern that I really like and have knit several dresses in. Yeah, so anyway, those are some things I might sew, but some things I might knit. So let me see. So I showed you the 1988 cardigan. That's on the list. And then I have the, this is going to be the Scandin sweater probably. This is the yarn that I got originally for the 1988 cardigan. There were others. But the contrast I liked the most was this, which is again that gold, that yellow gold, and this is actually a dark purple as opposed to navy. But this is my favorite, you know, like on the color wheel, my favorite contrast is purple and gold. And I don't really have a straight purple and gold garment. So this is going to be the Scandins sweater, which is a free pattern. And I have enough to make it. So I already have the yarn for that. Kind of the way I organize my Ravelry. Oh. And the curtains came crashing down. He's okay though. We call this Boy TV. Our little monitor. Just stay in your room. Okay. So yeah, the way I organize my Ravelry is if I have the yarn and the pattern that's needle adjacent, and it goes into my project page, like my active projects, even if I haven't started it, and then I just update the start date when I do start it. And then the queue I have been using more classically as a queue these days. Arvingen. The Arvingen sweater is one that came across my perception, came into my purview. I don't know, that I discovered for myself. Within the last year, I don't know when it came out, but I love it. I love the look of it. It looks so cozy and so comfy, and it's a Norwegian, Icelandic, excuse me, an Icelandic yarn. I got the yarn that the pattern called for, Alafoslopi. Whoops, sorry, turning off timers, knocking over cameras, you know. And I went with a color that's an unusual pick for me. It's, hopefully you can see it through the glare. That's a pretty good shot of it. It's a dark green, number 1230. It's a bulky weight. I love me a rustic yarn, and I know these Norwegian yarns deliver on that woolly gorgeousness. So this was my first time with this. And I got this yarn from littleknits.com. They're based in Seattle, and they had it, and they had the right price, and I bought it. So that's another sweater project that's very needle adjacent. And then but that only covers what? Three out of 6. So another one that's been in my queue for a while is the Marie cardigan. This I want to do in black. I do not have any black knit garments, and I want one. And I do worry, because this pattern has like so many beautiful lines in it, I worry that the black will hide that, but I'm hoping that it will just be fun to knit and a good profile, and I will enjoy it and know that there's beautiful lines in it, even if you can't see it. So I will take suggestions for a good black yarn for that. It's also bulky. I know black shows everything, and depending on the yarn, it can be like a lint trap. So so I want to be choosy on that. But that also won't be a project that I get to right away, so I've got time to like figure that out. And then I love to make sweaters for my son. Kid knits are very gratifying because they are fast, because they are small. I would love to self-draft a color work, all over color work with like Super Mario characters for him. He's not, I mean, he likes the Super Mario characters because he's watched his dad play like Donkey Kong and Mario Kart and stuff, so he has enough familiarity that I think he'd enjoy it. But it definitely would be more for the benefit of the adults in his life to say, oh my god, that's such a cute little sweater. And I also do want to make sure that the sweaters I'm knitting for him are big enough for him to wear for a couple of years too, so maybe in a couple of years he'll be more into it. And then the other, after just kind of looking around yesterday trying to figure out what might be my 6th big knit of the year if I get to them, because I do think the 1988 cardigan will take me a hot second. The Besties hoodies by Tin Can Knits is one that I came across just looking around and looking for another garment for my son. But oh my god, I want to knit us a pair of Besties hoodies. So cute. I love the original pattern photo colors. I want to do something like that. I mean, they remind me of Cotopaxi designs. I love Cotopaxi's color choices and color palettes, and so I would love to like find something kind of inspired by that, and by some of their palettes, and I probably would end up using knit picks or something. Yeah, so that's kind of my knitting plan, my crafting plan for the year. We'll see how it goes. I might completely change direction at any given moment, and that's okay, because this is fun and I don't have to do anything I don't want to. see what else. Yeah, so that's what I have as far as knitting. I'm gonna like go, well, I'll share these. I don't have a lot of acquisitions because like I said, I try to these days just buy what I need for the next project I'm gonna knit. Um, but I will not say no to free yarn, especially if it's alpaca. It's like single source alpaca. There was a lady in my mother's club group who was like, I got free yarn. Anybody want free yarn? I was like, me. And so I went out and picked it up. This is all alpaca from a farm around here. Yeah, they're beautiful. I kind of want to make like a colorwork hat or something. They're bulky. I love this little lavender one, which is apparently also alpaca. I think it is. Yeah, hand dyed apparently. But yeah, I may self draft a hat and make that. But in the meantime, it's just hanging out on my little stove. This is our little pellet stove that we do not use because it does not get cold enough, and we would need to clean the chimney, and we're not going to do that. So so it's just my little knitting station with my little cast iron kettle that we also don't use. I literally bought that because it was only $8 at Goodwill, and it's cast iron, and maybe someday we will have a wood stove and we will actually use it. But it's super cute, and it holds my giant embroidery hoops, which I use these to hang up my husband's threadbare band shirts. I was gonna like one day try to make a t-shirt quilt, but this is a much easier way to display the shirts that he has worn to bits. So that's sitting there waiting for the next batch. Here comes nobody. Oh, what I've been reading. So, I don't read that much, especially when I have like a deadline knitting project to work on. But when I do read, this is what I've been reading slowly but surely. This one I'm borrowing from a friend. It's called Midwifing Death. So, a little more about me. I have recently become interested in death work, particularly becoming a death doula. I know the word doula has some justifiable controversy around it, but that's unfortunately kind of like the touch point word that we all have for a companion for these life transitions. But this, the tagline is "Returning to the Arms of the Ancient Mother." So it's all about death as a part of the life cycle that that like a goddess interpretation of our spiritual world kind of offers us, more of a nature-based perspective, I guess. And that's been really good. So we haven't, I'm like a chapter in. It's still a lot about like the goddess and how that kind of worldview lends itself to seeing death differently. But anyway, I have a lot of books about death on my to-read pile right now. A little more about me. I'm taking prereqs at my local community college to apply to and hopefully get into the nursing program here at that community college, because I'd like to work in hospice. So that's kind of my current path and current route into easing that transition for people and their families. Yeah, so there's that. And then the other book I'm borrowing from a friend is called Body Full of Stars, and this is by Molly Caro May. Oh, Midwifing Death is by Lesline de la Madre. And then Body Full of Stars by Molly Caro May. Tagline is, or subtitle? No. Tagline? I don't know. Female Rage and My Passage into Motherhood. And it's a memoir, and I'm only like one chapter in, and it's powerful. Yeah, it's good. It's intense. I feel seen. So, yeah, that so far can recommend both of those. My kid is quiet, so I'll just keep going as long as I can. I wanted to talk a little bit more about why I'm starting this podcast. I've had making, crafting, knitting podcasts before. I also ran a podcast where I highlighted local artists and makers in my hometown. And that locally got some good traction. I was doing that for a couple of years, and I just withdrew like crazy after I quit my day job, and just kind of felt like the need to regroup and kind of process my own identity and especially my public identity, my like ego identity, and still have a difficult relationship with social media and especially like internet public persona. But I like, honestly, what triggered this latest iteration of this podcast is like, I'm always watching knitting podcasts, right? And then my husband will walk through the room and be like, "You could do that." And I'm like, I've tried many times and nobody ever watches it. And that's, like everyone says when they're starting a podcast, and that's okay. I kept them going for a long time. I had, a couple friends watching them. There was one, my Kiddo Ditto Crafts iteration. I had several episodes. I think I got into like almost to 20 episodes of that one. And yeah, it was what it was. But yeah, I'm here now because all right, fourth interruption. It's fine. We're all here. It's fine. I'm definitely like pushing my limits with how long he will stay in there now. So what was I saying? Just trying to figure out what was I saying? I don't remember. And that's fine. I'm here now because I want an outlet. I feel really disconnected as a stay-at-home mom from like what's going on out there. I don't necessarily.
Mama, the ball is under the bed again.
Why don't you use a book to get it out?
Well, books are too small.
You got some big books in there. Why don't you use one of your logs? Here. All right. He's a good boy. Yeah, I've been feeling disconnected. I don't necessarily want to be as connected as I was, but this feels like a good platform for me to like show up, share what I've been working on, and also make it okay for others to feel like they can show up wherever they are and work on whatever they can. Um, making in the margins of their lives, like I'm doing. um, I went from not being a parent to being a parent, which of course is a huge shift and a huge like shift in how you spend your time. And then I was working for about a year before I quit. Not even a year. I think Hazel, like maybe half a year before I was like, I hate having my kid in daycare. I want to be with him. I want to be raising my child. And but since I made that shift, I feel like I've been um I have so much less time. I was working from home before, and honestly my job did not give me a lot to do, so I was pretty much just like painting and knitting all day. Um and I felt, first of all, felt really guilty about that, especially while my kid was at daycare. I was like, I want to be where he is. I want to be raising him. I don't want to offload this. Like, I don't know. Those of you who understand. That's just where I was at the time. And I don't regret it, but it is also so demanding. And it's important to me to feel like to have a place to share what I'm working on, to show progress, to show that I'm still doing things for my own self and enjoyment and all that. So that's yeah, that's why I'm here. And I hope it encourages you and inspires you and helps you feel okay wherever you are in your life circumstances right now. If you're not able to make as much as you would like, I hope that you are able to steal bits of time to do something. And I hope that this inspires you to not get hung up on it being perfect, and or like being willing to let it take the time it takes. That's really like what my biggest lesson has been, is that like the timing is never perfect. The stars will never align. You kind of have to, like, what's that quote? It's kind of or different way of looking at like the jump in the net will catch you. I hate that phrase because reasons, but like maybe more of a may the road rise up to meet you. Like you've got to start and then figure it out on the way, or you'll go crazy. So anyway, my son has been extremely patient. I'm gonna release him, and yeah, just want to say thank you. If you watch this, please comment so I know that someone someone got something out of this. That will make it worth it too. Yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know what you were working on. Let me know if you have questions. Yeah, and until we pick up the thread again, take care, and I will talk to you later.